Alrighty, guys. So yeah, we'll officially begin right now. So hi everybody. This is our weekly live stream from the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences. This is our E3 edition since E3 is right around the corner next week. Hope you guys are excited. My name is Russell Up. This here is Almir. Hi, how's it going?
I'm very good, thank you.
Awesome.
Pleasure being here.
Welcome to LA. Welcome back to LA.
Thank you. Always fun to be in LA. Always crazy before E3.
Yeah.
And yeah, really good being here, talking with you guys.
Very cool. A couple of things before we begin. I guess we have a lot of things going on right now. So
yeah, you could say that, yeah.
So for the chat itself, if you have any questions, do let us know in the chat. We'll do our best to filter through as much as we can. There's giveaways going out throughout the stream, so pay attention. We'll have one of our moderators put out the raffle, and there's a lot of giveaways. What are you guys giving away?
We're giving away a couple of different things. We're giving away base games of Payday 2. We're giving away Game of the Year editions of the game as well, the 2015 ones, which you can't buy, which is basically all the content up to the end of 2015, so $140 worth of content. And we're giving away some exclusive PaydayCon masks as well that you can't buy anywhere else. And we're also giving away 10 5-pack deluxe editions of Dead by Daylight, which is launching on Tuesday. So yeah,
it's an amazing giveaway list. So hopefully you guys are excited. And just again, pay attention to the chat. You'll get the notification when it starts. So a couple other things as well. Our intern John, excuse me, is playing the game right now, Payday 2, in the background. So if you want to join in, he'll be playing around for about the next hour or so. And I think that's about it. Do you have any other words of wisdom for the stream audience before we begin?
No, happy to be here. Great that update 100 is out. You all saw that joke that is the update 101. We're introducing some new stuff. So yeah, good being here. Looking forward to answering some questions from the community. And great seeing so many heisters in chat.
Let's start with that then. You guys just celebrated the big anniversary, right? The big 100th anniversary.
Yeah.
You guys have been working on the franchise for so long. What's it like to reach this milestone? How do you feel?
Humbled, tired. No, but it's great. Like we said, when we did the announcement, reaching this far with this community, through thick and through thin. Everything we've experienced together, it's been a crazy ride, and here's to another 18 months worth of development, and after that we'll see. I know there's a lot of players out there who are asking, well, does it all end then? End of 2017, but it doesn't have to. It all depends. It has always depended on what the community wants, for how long they support the game. But yeah, it's crazy. Any regrets? I wish we could have been faster and had a smoother ride with supporting the console players, because I know there's a lot of avid heisters out there on both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation and Xbox One who are looking forward to some new stuff, and it's coming. We're in testing right now, so that feels good. I wish we, in hindsight, it's always easy to, look back and be like, oh, we should have done it like that. Oh, we should have never introduced microtransaction or whatever, right? But yeah, we did what we did because we love making Payday. That's the only reason, right? And we've done the recent changes that we've done because we love making Payday for these guys, and we felt the past few months, ever since we did the black market update, introducing the safes and so on, that there was this kind of weird feeling, in the community that something was up, right? We felt it. The community obviously felt it too, right? And hopefully the recent changes that we did and the fresh start that we have with update 100 will clear a lot of that and have people and let people just focus on enjoying Payday and robbing banks and getting paid.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit. How does your community feedback system work in terms of how often do you guys look at your forums? How often do you take all the feedback you're getting, which I'm sure is so much feedback?
Yeah. It's funny, right? Because since we started at Overkill, with Payday the Heist and Payday 2. We've grown, from being an extremely small team on, less than 2 digits, right, into 75 developers, right? That's a huge difference, right? And the Payday community has grown from being thousands of players into the millions, right? I think the latest number we said officially was 14 million players through the entire franchise. And obviously, with that many players, it's super difficult to listen to everyone.
Yeah.
However, all of us in the Overkill crew, you know, are hardcore gamers. You know, we lurk constantly, right? it's you know, be it, you know, 4chan, Reddit, the subreddit. You know, shout out to all you guys. The Steam forums, the Spuff forums. You know, even though we don't have that much presence there anymore, but I'll do a surprise visit soon, like I've promised in the past. But you know, it's all about priorities as well, right?
Yeah.
And you know, we read, we listen. You know, every tweet to the official Overkill account, every tweet to myself, to Simon. You know, even though Simon Wiklund, for example, Lord Simon, that everyone in chat knows, even though he officially doesn't work at Starbreeze anymore, he's always going to be an Overkill crew member, right? And you know, we keep in touch with him, and he shares his feedback, you know, his thoughts on the game regularly as well, right? So it's always about the feedback. It's always about the community opinion, and together, you know, in line with what we want to do as well, right? Because it's always the push and pull, you know, of what do we want as a developer, and what does the community want as players, right? And the past year we've done a lot in order to improve communication, because it hasn't always been good. We always know we can get better at it. Sometimes have been really tough for us, but we try to focus on the good stuff. We try to focus on the positive feedback that we're getting, you know, and the criticism that the community's been sharing. And we've, you know, pushed some people forward in the crew, like Joachim, that a lot of people in the chat probably knows about, you know, and we've added a lot of more volunteer moderators to help out and so on. So hopefully the community feels that the heisters out there feel that we're trying our best to get better at communicating. And I think the skills beta, for example, is a good example on that. We announced the skills beta, we announced our intention, and then we had a beta instead of just adding it to the game suddenly from out of nowhere, you know. And for update 100, we went live with the whole thing, so it seems it really went over well.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's the craziest request you've ever gotten that maybe did get implemented into the game that you remember?
Well, you know, it's the stuff that I'd love to see, like, you know, add the John Cena as a heister or whatever, you know. Stupid shit like that I just want to add instantly, but we can't for various reasons, you know, because he's John Cena, right? Have
you tried reaching out on Twitter?
I have, actually. It's funny you mentioned that. I have, but he didn't get back to us.
That's a shame.
Yeah, but he was probably heisting already. So
let's talk a little bit also about the initial start of Payday 2. I'm just curious about the roadmap you set out for yourself. Obviously, you have a lot of content that came out throughout all the years now, you know. How much did you predict would happen at the very outset of your development cycle?
It's a super good question. We initially predicted nothing, right? We had we maybe talked with our publishing partner 505 Games back then, you know, about let's do, you know, a couple of DLCs afterwards and see where it goes. But I mean, the response from the community when we launched the game was unbelievable. It was beyond, you know, out of this world, because we made back our initial development cost making the game, you know, for those years before the game was even launched, which. And the good thing about that, so the community understands, right, is that if we make back the money as early as possible, that gives us the security to know that we can continue working on this game without having to worry about, you know, potentially firing any staff, you know, any crew members. If for some reason, you know, people would stop buying the game, you know, it would keep us afloat and stuff like that, right? So that really gave us an opportunity to put in a long-term strategy together with 505 Games and say we want to support this game for years to come. And I think there are a few games out there that have managed to, you know, have such a strong community and the same amount of content constantly being released, you know, month after month. So we're really happy about that, and it's a privileged situation.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is community the name of the game nowadays for a game? Like, you need to really listen to your community and really give good feedback. Is that the name of the game for good games? No pun intended.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but I also think it goes hand in hand. Like I said, it's a tug of war between us as a developer and what our red thread, our ambition is with the game, and talking with the community, ensuring that that their opinions matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, one of the best examples we have in the Payday universe is the addition of old Hawks into the Payday 2, right? So in the original game, in Payday the Heist, Hoxton was a British robber, right?
Yeah.
Portrayed by Pete Gold, and loved by all, right?
Yeah.
But for various development reasons, we ended up not adding him in Payday 2 as a part of the start lineup. Instead, we had another Hoxton who was American. That was Dallas' younger brother. So what happened? Of course, those who loved Hoxton in the original game were like, "What the fuck? Where is old Hawks?"
Yeah.
And we never said anything, and we let the community speculate. And someone said, "Maybe he's in jail," and we said, "Yeah, maybe he is," and we were like, "Holy shit! Of course he's in jail," And that's that's the way we work with the community, right? And they started making up this fan fiction out of what happened to him, and we just took that and said, that's exactly what happened. And we said, and we brought Hoxton back as a part of an event and a heist, and we did a really cool live action video as well that we recorded in Stockholm. Yeah. With explosions and shooting and all that fun stuff.
It was amazing.
Yeah. And there you went. There you had it. And we created this, this relationship between Hoxton and Houston. Hoxton being pissy about Houston borrowing his mask, and that was community driven, 100%. So I think that's a great example on the power of the community.
Very cool. Obviously, one of the big questions that is all through the stream and on our Twitter page is the future, right? Of like what you guys are exactly doing next on Payday 2.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can talk about so far, or like DLC, or anything else that you might want to mention?
Yeah, well, definitely. What date is it today? Is it the 10th?
I believe so. 10th or 11th,
yeah,
right?
It's the 10th, right? Yeah. So in 4 days, E3 starts, and obviously, E3 is a big event for us. This year's E3 is going to be huge for us, and especially huge for you if you're Payday fans. So, definitely stay tuned for E3. I don't want to spoil it because it's just too exciting. But I'm confident that people are gonna love it. And no, it's not microtransactions. It's nothing like that. It's still, what we said during Update 100 stays. It's something that you guys are really gonna enjoy. So hope you guys look forward to it.
Very cool.
And enjoy it when you actually get to see it and try it and all that fun stuff.
For people going to E3, what can they expect from you guys? Like in terms of the booth or in terms of a setup or anything like that?
It's gonna be a really cool booth. What I can announce for the first time is that we're gonna have. You saw the teaser trailer, the E3 trailer we did, where Dragan, Dallas, and Chains stood next to a car, arguing, right? Beating up over each other over this new member potentially joining the gang or whatever. And I can confirm that all three actors are going to be at E3 on Wednesday.
That's awesome.
So if you're at the show on Wednesday, I think it's between noon and 2 p.m. Make sure you come by the Payday booth, because you're gonna get to meet the guys, grab some photos,
That's
talk
awesome.
with them, and so on. And if you come by the booth as well, we have some giveaways. So some new special codes that are exclusive, that we made exclusively for the E3 show. And if you can attend, don't worry, we're gonna share those codes with you guys through Reddit, through giveaways by our community moderators in the Steam Hub and so on as well. But that's the first space where you place where you get to try that.
And you guys are located on the east side, or I believe, right when you enter?
No, it's the west side. Yeah, so in the West Hall, in the entrance of the West Hall. Yeah, we have a lot of different stuff going on there.
Yeah, last year was pretty insane. We were talking a little bit about the zombies walking through the halls and scaring everybody.
Yeah. And this year is gonna be even crazier. So make sure you come by. Yeah, I'll show you around. And the same goes for you guys. If you're by, make sure you come say hi to me, say hi to the guys and girls working in the booth. Most of them, if not all of them, are game developers from the studio. So make sure you come by.
Going back to Payday a little bit, there's a growing number of playable heists beyond the original, or a growing number of characters. What went into making the new cast members, and do you have a favorite?
there's a lot of different things that goes into making new cast members. It has to feel right from our side, right? And this is, the tug of war again, with the community. So some characters we think fit great, whereas the community think they don't fit that great. Whereas other times, we might feel that, maybe we could have done that better, but the community are super happy about it, right? For example, if we take Jacket as an example, Jacket is a super popular character in Payday. That was a really interesting thing because he's a collaboration, right? So he's a promo character in a sense that we added because people reacted so positively to Hotline Miami and the collaboration we did for the heists and the masks and so on that we added. But with Jacket, we Devolver Digital reached out to us together with Denaton and said, "Hey guys, we're releasing Hotline Miami 2. Would you guys like to do something with us?" And we said, "Yeah, how about adding Jacket as a playable character in Payday 2 as a part of the promo for the game?" Because we love Hotline Miami, and we have a ton of respect for Devolver and what they do as a publisher of independent titles. And the problem though was how do you add Jacket as a playable character, because he doesn't have a voice in Hotline Miami, right? He doesn't ever say anything, so no one knows how he sounds like. So what we came up with was the brilliant idea, and I think it was a couple of us together with Simon in discussing, how do we do it, and someone came up with the idea like, well, how about him having a tape recorder, right? With different tapes,
people on
different people on tape, and originally I think we had more languages than it consists of now, like Japanese, for example. But end of the day, when we went live with it, I think people were like, "Whoa, this is crazy," you know, because it's a crazy character. But that was amazing. And during the whole time, we talked with Dennis and Jonathan at Denaton, about making sure that they were comfortable with the character, the way we developed it and so on. And it's if it's a new character based in a new character that we come up with ourselves, we always look to the community and check what they'd like to see be added in the past, and sometimes we just do whatever the hell we want to do as well.
So there's a lot of crossovers actually then, right? Like Goat Simulator, John Wick, all these different things. Are those all community driven as well? Were that some of your ideas?
No, that's I think most of those are our ideas, and for good or worse, right? And because we want to do that, we like any artist out there, because we consider video games art, right? We love collaborating with other artists, and we're with the Goat Simulator stuff, we're extremely good friends with the Goat Sim guys down at Coffee Stain. They're Swedes, just like us, and they're an independent developer who are just awesome to work with. And we figure, what would be a crazy way for us to work together? And I think now people are really happy about those heists. Some people really enjoy it, and if you think about it, it's more reasonable that you would have cocaine in goats than some of the other crazy shit we pull off in Payday, right? Because it actually happens, right? People, they transport drugs in various different ways nowadays, and have probably since, I don't know, the beginning of man, or the beginning of drugs anyway. But I think, a lot of stuff is about timing as well, and quality of content. Like maybe the reception would have been easier on the community with the Goat stuff if it had been released on the 1st of April, because then people would be like, "Is this a joke? It isn't? Oh, holy shit!" But with us releasing it just after Point Break, where people were like still sensitive regarding the microtransactions, I think it slapped some in the face, and that was never our intention, but we live and we learn. We continue to improve as developers, and reading reading the community vibe, right? When it's when is a good time to release what content, basically.
Excuse me. You guys definitely seem very candid about like a lot of the development practices, your community. What goes behind the thinking of that, being like so honest with both your community and just in interviews and stuff like that?
It's I think a lot of our players are Payday veterans. They've been with us since the inauguration of the studio. Since the first game we made, and I think it's about respect. We respect our players, and we want them to be able to follow us and to provide their feedback and be a part of this journey that we're on as game developers for as long as they possibly can. And when stuff happens, the bad stuff that's happened in the past, because there's been a ton of different things. You can't go. It's a relationship, right, with us in the community. You can't go through 3 years worth of game development after launch without having some hiccups.
Yeah.
I think it's important to realize that we're only human, and we do our best to make as good games as we possibly can, and we're always humbled by the support of the community, because some of them might as well have left previously, and maybe they deserved to, if you know what I mean, but they decided to stay on, or they decided to come back after we try to redeem ourselves and mistakes we've done in the past. And for that, what else can we be other than humbled and happy about having a community like that? So it's and we know that Payday being a multiplayer-driven game, and that being the core of our business, the core of what we want to do as game developers, as artists, it's imperative that we continue making sure that they're happy about the stuff we do, and happy with us as developers.
What would you give as a tip to another developer that might be going through some similar pains, whether it's like they made they made an error with the community, or they're trying to recover from some bad press or something like that? Would anything like you would suggest them to do? Or
I would say it's never too late to redeem yourselves, and I think the Payday community really proved that. Taking us, accepting, our apologies and being happy about update 100, for example, where we removed microtransactions to as big of an extent as we could, right? And it's about respect, right? The people are angry for a reason, if they're angry, and just accepting that, accepting that and solving it from the root of the problem, and not just trying to do quick fixes or stuff like that. I think that's the important thing. And of course, especially with a large community like the one we have for Payday, it's impossible to make everyone happy. But I think it's important to ensure that as many people are as happy as possible. Yeah,
definitely.
And I think it's also important to make it clear. Because when we announced the news, we announced that because we bought the rights to Payday back from our publishing partner 505 Games, we wanted to celebrate that by removing the microtransactions. And for some, they thought that means that automatically means that 505 were evil and they were behind it all, right? That's not the case at all. Any decision we've done in Payday, any decision has been on us as developers. 505 has been a fantastic partner and continues to be a fantastic partner on the console version of things to us. They've given us the freedom of being independent in our decision making. They've given us the freedom to screw up when we've screwed up, and to fix things when we want to fix things. So I think that's the important thing to say there. And the whole idea with microtransactions from the beginning was that we want to continue working on Payday 2, right? Our ambition for the game has only increased after the game was launched, not decreased like is the usual with any other studio, generally speaking, right? Because you release the game, it's on a high point, right? And then after, you maybe do a few DLCs or whatever, but you're off working on the next game.
Yeah.
With Payday 2, we've just increased our ambition, increased the amount of content that we want to push out, features we want to add, and so on, right? So with microtransactions, we figured this might help us solve the issue of money coming in. And sadly, it did it at the expense of a lot of player happiness, which we felt, and we decided in the end to remove it, because we felt, even though it made money, it did so at the cost of player happiness and at the cost of respect from our players. it wasn't worth it. Right?
Yeah.
We want them to be happy, and there's no point in us making more stuff for Payday 2 if the players can't stand behind us and enjoy the content fully, without having to worry about something or something like that.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and it feels like it, hopefully the players will be able to enjoy anything new that we push out now, and not worry about pay to win aspects and stuff like that. We added the community grenade as well. And the reason we had a paid explosive was that in the original game, Payday the Heist, we never had any explosives. We added that grenades. That is, we added that as a new feature in Payday 2, and that's why it was a DLC to start with, right? But we felt Update 100 was a good opportunity to add a community grenade for free. Yeah. And it has the exact same stats as the DLC one. Yeah.
Very cool. Looking forward a little bit too. I know you guys dabble a little bit with VR and virtual reality.
Yeah.
How have your experiences been so far? What do you think of the tech?
Yeah, it's crazy fun. It's if you guys on stream haven't tried virtual reality yet, you should, because it's unbelievable. It's really fun, and we've tried all of it. The Vive, and we have our own headset as well, our own HMD that we're developing, called the Star VR, and it's gonna be crazy for VR. It's in many ways, it's the future of game development, because it's so incredibly immersive. And I think what Valve, because I tried their headset first when I was at the Steam Dev Days back when, and what I felt, my first reaction was they've managed to make presence, make me feel present, in the world.
Yeah.
That was the big thing, right? When I put the goggles on, or whatever you want to call it, I felt like I was there, which was crazy, because the graphics were really crude.
Yeah.
But it felt like I was there, and that was the crazy thing about it. Yeah.
What's an experience you would hope to play in VR, or maybe that's something that you've already played yourself?
I think the best is yet to come, right? I've played some really, really funky stuff. I've played, obviously the Walking Dead experience that we have, for the Star VR is crazy, because you have the shotgun peripheral as well that you use. Yeah. So you're physically given a shotgun halfway through the experience. What else? A lot of the stuff Valve has done, there's a great game called Budget Cuts as well, made by a good friend of mine called Joachim. He's spearheading a company called Neat Corporation. Okay. So that's an awesome game as well, coming to the Vive, I believe, in development right now. Yeah, it's just there's so much. I love the cooking game. The Job Simulator.
Job Simulator, yeah.
Yeah, it's I love it. Although I tried an earlier version where you had a knife, but you don't in the final one, which is sad, because the one of my friends who's also a developer, the first thing he did when he tried it, he picked up a knife and he started stabbing himself to see if there was an effect. But yeah, that's probably why they removed it. Yeah.
Do you see any, I guess, potential for like a multiplayer game like yourself? I wasn't sure if The Walking Dead or if these games were more multiplayer focused, but VR and multiplayer.
Absolutely. I mean, the reason why we do multiplayer games is because we believe those are the most fun. And any new game we try to make it a multiplayer game, and we try to make it with gameplay in focus, because that's the best experience. Yeah.
Very cool. Two more questions from me is one about the future of your company. Anything that obviously E3 is around the corner. We can't talk anything about that. Anything maybe on a broader sense about, are you guys scaling up more? Are you guys hiring more people? Or how's your company culture feeling like in the future?
Yeah, I think company culture-wise, it's feeling great. We've got an awesome crew back in Stockholm and here in Los Angeles and Paris as well, working on the VR stuff over there. So it's a great crew. It's a great team. We're definitely scaling up, because we've got a ton of stuff in the pipeline. Right, we've got a Walking Dead game that we're working really hard on. We've got Crossfire that we signed as well, which is going to be awesome. We've got Payday 2, and we said stuff about Payday 3, but we didn't say anything more than what was written on a piece of paper, and that's all I have to say about that. And
that's your Payday 3 news, folks. That's all you're gonna get.
and we're continuing to work on Payday 2, right? And the ambition is to continue to push out content in the same haste that we've done in the past few months, right? Yeah. So, but things change. We're gonna try to keep the community in the loop as much as possible. and yeah, I mean the future is really bright for us. It feels like, and you know, it is bright. You know, at the mercy of the community, right? We have to have them on board. We have to have them be happy about the decisions we make, and understand and respect the decisions we make. And we have to make sure that we give the community the right tools to do so. You know, that we are on time with announcing stuff, that we give them a proper opportunity, you know, to say if they like it or if they dislike it. Like, for example, we tried to add, we felt that we wanted to update the menus for Payday 2, right? We felt they were like, yeah, we were tired of them, right? So we did a few tests and so on, and we decided to launch a beta, saying, you know, hey, we redid the whole menu system. What do you guys think? People generally disliked it, you know, even though it might have looked better graphically. The flow wasn't there, you know. There were more clicks to get to where you wanted, and the community disliked it. So we said, yeah, you know, screw it. For now, let's put it somewhere else and keep it there until we come up with some better ideas. And I think that's great, you know, because that reinforces the communities, the heisters out there, their power, you know, over the game and over their own experience.
It's like I don't want to compare it to a beta, but it's like an ever-evolving process of like back and forth.
Yeah, like it is. Yeah, and that's why you got to have respect for that as well, because it is a live process. You know, it's us going live with stuff all the time. Some stuff will suck. You know, that's bound to happen. You know, and we try to make the sucky stuff as little as possible of the game. You know, but it happens, and when it happens, we try to correct it as soon as possible, because we just want to produce good stuff, right?
In the end, do you feel that the game as it is now is something that you guys are very happy with, that it's the art piece that you were aiming for in the very beginning?
Yeah, I think it's so much more, right? We never, you know, we were humbled already back when we did Payday the Heist, you know, the success we had with that game. And we only produced one DLC for that game and one free heist with the No Mercy Hospital, right? And with the reception we had for Payday 2 initially, and the support and the love we've felt, you know, from the community up until now has been unbelievable. And it's, you know, these guys and gals in the community have more power than they can ever imagine over stuff, right? Even though it's difficult to understand. When we've said in the past that we're an independent developer, that means that we make the decisions ourselves. You know, if the community has a good idea, we can add that if the timing is right, if we have the developer, you know, assets for it, you know, the resources and so on, right? And that their money, you know, and that's also one of the things, you know, that we said, you know, because a lot of people asked us, you know, why don't you make Payday 3? And we said, because we respect the people's initial purchase, you know. We just don't want people to buy a $60 title and then just stop working on it. We you know, we sold people a $30 title, and we promised to continue working on it, which we did. We permanently reduced the price point, you know, by $10 to $20 because we wanted more people to be able to afford it. And we're continuing to add stuff as we go. And you know, we've talked a lot about our friends in at Behavior, you know, in Canada, working on Dead by Daylight, which we've talked a bit about in the Payday community as well. And the reason we do that is because the reason that game exists, the reason Dead by Daylight exists, is thanks to the Payday community. You know, because of the, you know, unbelievable support of these gamers. And players out there, heisters out in the Payday community, we managed to secure, you know, the funds to help another independent developer make their own IP. I mean, that game is their IP. No one but Behavior decides what goes into that game, and that's unbelievable. That's crazy. You know, that's. There's no publisher for them saying make that red, make that blue, you know, or whatever, right? It's the developers themselves saying, you know, this is the kind of game we want to make, this is the music we want to make, you know, this is the feelings we want to convey, and our part in that game has only been to try to support them in the best way we can, you know. All right, guys. So, for example, we helped them produce the launch trailer that is going live next week. And Lord Simon Wieklund made the music for it. So, you know, that's great, you know, because that's a small Payday influence, you know, going into a different game. And we respect, you know, that people might not want to play Payday all the time. So we're happy to be able to create another game with another developer that people might enjoy while they're not playing Payday. That's awesome. We love that. And then last year we announced a World War II game called Raid.
Yeah.
It's the same thing there, Lion Game Line, the developers behind that game, they're great friends of ours. We're super loyal to each other. We invited them to work on Payday 2, creating a few DLCs back when.
Yeah.
And then when we realized that these guys really know how to develop games, we helped them secure funds to create their own game. So they're currently working on their own game, a 4-player co-op set in the Second World War. I mean, that's amazing. And I'm a sucker for the Second World War.
Yeah.
Anything World War II, I just want to eat it up, yeah.
That artistic integrity definitely seems like a very important part to you and maybe your company's mantra. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Artistic integrity from all aspects. Art-wise, game design, everything. And the reason is that's the reason why Payday is successful. Because we can take our own ideas and we can take the ideas of the community and put it in as is,
Yeah.
That's so important.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We're just about out of time at this point, but is there anything we missed maybe that you wanted to talk about, or is there something you wanted to say to all the heisters and fans out there that you haven't already said?
We salute you. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out E3. Make sure you check out the Humble Bundle Twitch TV E3 ticket. That's going to go live. We've got some really nice surprises in store for you guys there. Go check out Dead by Daylight if you haven't. It's a great game made by great friends of ours. Multiplayer game, very much in the spirit of Payday. So yeah, and stay tuned for E3. I think you guys are going to be really happy what we've got in store for you. And yeah, happy heisting.
Happy heisting. Thank you so much, Amir, for coming in. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And
pleasure is mine.
Thank you all guys for watching. Heisters, new fans, old fans for watching. This video will be up on YouTube later on in the day, so we'll tweet that out. We'll send it to Amir and everything, so you guys have it. And yeah, if you guys want any giveaways, congratulations, and we'll send the codes out shortly afterwards. So thank you guys again for watching. Thank you, Amir.
Thank you.
And happy E3. See you guys next week.
See you.
Bye.